Hey, it's Billy again with the Curi-YAAS podcast. Today's special guest is Sarah Kay, all the way from the other side of the world. I think it's like, I don't know, 2:30 in the morning or something for her. She's a little insane, but I'd love for her to tell us about herself in probably at least 3 words, minimal, maybe maximum. I don't know. Sarah, so if you'd like to introduce yourself, that'd be fantastic, please.
In 3 words.
That was it. You're done.
Indeed. So my name's Sarah. I live in Scotland, so not quite the other side of the world, the other side of the pond, as some people call the Atlantic Ocean. I'm 49 later this year, and been socially transitioning for it'll be a year on my birthday this year. Um, so
Mm.
So that was my big thing last year, was finally getting to that point where I was ready to tell the world, or the parts of the world that I cared about, I guess, my work in places like that. So yeah, that was where I was this time last year, thinking about how to go about that and whatnot, and get to that part of my journey.
Okay, so you started transitioning a year ago. Is that
Socially.
like socially? Okay, so what about like medical? Have you started
So
that at
some
all?
medical, yes, medical. I started HRT
What does that mean?
last last year. So I got patches from from the NHS. So unlike the system in America, um, our system takes so much longer. I self-referred to our system, so they're gender identity clinics, and in Scotland there are only 4 of them. Um, so the nearest one to me is Glasgow, which is also the one with one of probably the longest waiting list. I
Mm,
referred back in March 2019, um, just because of different things. I was waiting, and now I wish I hadn't, because obviously the pandemic and everything else has made that wait much longer. More and more people are starting to feel comfortable with being themselves, and so their numbers have skyrocketed up. And at the moment, they're going through about a month. About a month worth on the waiting list is taking about a year rather than
mm.
the previous. It was an 18. It was meant to be an 18-month waiting time. So what I done after I changed my name legally last year, on my birthday,
Oh,
um,
cool.
I I went to I phoned my GP, and got an appointment. I wanted an in-person appointment because I'd printed off all this paperwork about something called a bridging prescription, which the NHS in England were in favour of for people who were trans and who hadn't been seen yet by one of these clinics. And um, morning of the appointment, got a phone call. It's like, oh, the GP is not going to be available to see you face to face. Are you okay
Oh
with a phone
no.
call? And I was like, well, yeah, if it's going to be a phone call, it's going to be a phone call. I wanted to speak to her. So during the phone call, she seemed really positive, and I said, by the way, I've got some paperwork I was going to show you today. Do you mind if I email it to you? And she was like, sure. And I expected an email for the surgery or something like that. Nope, her own personal email address. So
Oh
I
wow.
forwarded all the stuff to her, um, and then we ended the phone call. And this was on, I think, the Thursday, and then she emailed me on the Monday, apologising for taking so long to get back to me.
Oh,
She had COVID, and
oh no.
that was why the in person appointment
Mm.
didn't take place. And she was like, we'll get you into the surgery, and then we'll look at getting you your scripts. So already I knew at that point it was fairly positive news. She started me off in a really, really small dosage. After 3 months, we reviewed it and she doubled it. And actually, the beginning of this month, I got it put up again. So I'm now on 150. Um, what's the name of it? I've got it near here actually. So it's Everell. So these are what I'm taking.
Oh.
So
I'm
Usually
all
on
look,
the
I'm all looking at my pills like, is I have one of those? No, mine are different.
yeah, yeah, and usually you have to put them around your waist area, between upper thigh and your
That's right.
sort of waist.
You said you do patches. Duh. I'm like
Yeah.
looking at my pills. I'm like, are my pills the same as your patches?
Uh,
Uh.
I don't think so. um,
You're probably like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're completely different things.
so they're supposed to be you do them every um, once a week basically. So you change it once a week. So it's
Mm.
maybe 3 days for one and 4 days for the other. And there'd been like issues with supply earlier this year, so I moved to 4 days and 4 days. You're figuring
Mm.
if one patch can do 4 days, the other patch can do 4 days because there's no differential on the actual patches to say this is the 3 day one and this is the 4 day one. So I just do them 4 days, and it gives me a little bit of a stock for when it's getting closer to the prescription time.
Oh dang. Do those do you have a hard time like keeping those stuck on, or do you
To begin with, I
like
did.
like
Yeah.
I know for me, I'm a sweaty person, so I don't think patches would work for me. Like
I,
today, I think I sweated out probably. I'm sorry, I don't know what measurements you use for liquids, but I'm just gonna say I probably sweated like 5 gallons of sweat today, so I don't think patches would stick to me.
I know what gallons are.
Oh, okay. Should I have said liters? I don't know.
I mean, you could say
I,
liters as well. Be the UK is in a really weird position because we use the imperial, which is where gallons and all that, but we also use the milliliters and liters. So
okay,
I get
I
taught.
don't say I don't know the liters, so unless it's like a soda
Don't
bottle,
worry.
I'm like I don't fucking know. Um,
I'm
yeah,
not gonna. I'm not gonna teach you that. Don't worry.
okay, okay. It's like I know I sweat a bunch, so like I don't think patches would work for me.
Yeah. Um.
They would probably fall off. But I mean, I don't know how does that work? Do you like? I'm assuming you could like shower with them on, and
Yeah. So I've sat in a bath with them on.
oh wow,
So I mean, I was worried as well to begin with because the first few I did have problems with, and it was just about where you place them on your posterior. I usually slap bang on the nice big fleshy part.
oh
Um,
what's the posterior?
the ass or
The
arse.
arse.
I knew you wanted me to say that word. Is that one of my 3 words that I'm loud?
That
Arse.
is one of your 3 words. You have two more. Make them count.
No problem. Damn.
Oh, that was
Ah.
the other one. Sorry, you're stuck with one
Yeah.
more.
Oh, go on. So yeah, I put them on the arse, and they seem to have done better there. And I don't have any issues really. It's all about getting them on as flat as possible as
Mm,
well. So if they crinkle up or anything like that, you're going to have some problems, and they actually can get quite uncomfortable if they crinkle. But if you
mm.
get it nice and flat, they're not too bad.
Okay,
Um,
and so those the patches they do like a I guess a steady release of the hormones.
yeah,
Is that how
so
that works?
it's a steady release over the 3 or 4 days. Um,
Okay, interesting.
so yeah,
Because I know
it's
I do pills, and I try to do them at like 6:30 a.m. and p.m. But
yeah,
I'm sometimes kind of bad about it. But I try to get it like around ballpark, so six
yeah.
thirty seven ish.
I'd probably have to set a reminder to myself to do that.
Yeah, I've been pretty good about it. Today was the first day where I almost left my house without taking them because I was kind of running late and my mind was just like flustered. And I was like walking out the door, I was like, oh shit, I didn't take my pills. So let me
Right.
take them really quick.
Yeah.
So
So I think that's probably one of the ways where I'm kind of glad that I'm on patches because it's something I don't have to think about too often. Although saying that, I've maybe taken a patch off, gone for a shower,
hmm
and then forgotten to put the new one on, and then realised
uh,
halfway through the day, and I'm like, ah. But thankfully, just now, majority of the time, I'm still working at home, and so I usually just put it on at that point. I don't think it's going to
okay.
do too much damage, but yeah, it's been pretty good. It's been you still notice the changes. I don't think you maybe notice them as quickly.
Mm,
Maybe, um, but that's all I'm on. I'm only on HRT. I'm not on any blockers or anything like that just now. Um,
okay. Okay.
because it's a bridging prescription. The GP doesn't want to push too much. which I understand. And I could go private. We do have that availability in the UK. However, about the time where I thought about it, the nearest private clinic, which was in Edinburgh, so the other side of the country for me, which must sound crazy to you guys, but it's only like maybe 90 miles away for me. And I'm on one coast,
Mm,
and
that
Edinburgh's
is
on the
crazy.
other coast. And they stopped taking people on their list because so many people decided to go private because they were fed up waiting for the National Health Service, the NHS, to actually do anything. Um, Earlier this year, the Scottish Government are putting a plan together to evaluate the system
Hmm.
and just figure out how they can fix it. So that's
Speed
something.
up, speed up the
Yeah,
process. That's the best way.
I mean the
Easier,
process is.
easier said than done. Easier said than done.
Yeah, it's. I think a lot of it's to do with doctors, because the UK is suffering from similar issues to yourself, where right wing people are attacking the transgender community in a whole, and obviously anybody who helps them. So I think the problem really is trying to get doctors, and maybe even just trying to get doctors who are happy enough to deal with trans people as well. Sometimes can be a bit of a hardship. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
so yeah, I think that's something. I think it's still going to put a couple of years onto my waiting list, though. In all honesty, but with the fact I'm on the patches, I'm a bit more chill about it. I've
That
waited.
the A couple questions. I just want to clarify the waiting list. Is that for like surgical stuff?
No, that's
No.
just for
Okay.
your
Okay.
first. That's just for your first appointment.
Oh. Okay.
So
Okay. Okay. My bad. My bad. I was
no,
getting
no,
them
that's
mixed up.
okay. Yeah, no, no.
I just
So
thought I'd clarify. My other question. I just kind of want to go back to you mentioned like noticing like effects and stuff.
yeah,
Have you noticed any? Well, I'm sure you've noticed effects in the last year. How has that been for you? Can you want to like explain that some?
um, it's made me happy.
Made you
Yeah,
happy?
no, really. I mean, really, yeah. I mean, feeling like the tenderness around the nipples and things like that, and
I
seeing
am there now.
that area change. Um, Not necessarily the size, but the shape. I'm a larger person, so I already had moobs there.
Mm.
So the fact that they're changing shape to be boobs, every time I look
You're
down, I just a wee
you're
smile.
you're transforming from moobs to boobs.
Yeah. So that made me happy. Emotional wise, maybe it's because I'm not on T blockers. It's been fairly steady. It's been fairly, no many issues. I tear up a little bit quicker now than I did previously, but I still teared up when I was a man.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Putting
it's yeah. When I put my mask
putting that
on,
mask on. Yeah.
yeah, that bloke, as we say over here, mask on, and so I could be watching a movie or an advert or something like that. And like, why the hell am I wanting to cry here? Uh, and now it's just like, yeah, it's whatever. Um, so yeah, that's been interesting as well. And my sister, who's a few years older than myself, got put on HRT earlier this year for the menopause,
Oh.
and,
Okay.
and
Okay.
started coming out in spots, and mood swings were wild. And
Did you call her and say HRT twins?
no, I just
Oh,
laughed at her.
maybe you should
No, definitely not.
call her right now at 2:30, whatever time it is
Yeah,
for you.
I can, I
Just
can, I can tell you exactly what her words would be, and the first one would be F, and then the second one would
dang,
definitely be off. If I phoned
dang,
her
dang.
just now, actually, she wouldn't
Ah,
answer. She would be asleep, I would think,
she'd be
probably.
like, "Why the fuck are you calling me at 2:30 in the morning?" Ugh.
Yeah, she's like,
Although,
somebody better be fucking dead, otherwise it's you that's dead. It's what she would say to
yeah,
me.
that's what I would think if someone's calling you that like that at that
Yeah,
time of night. It's got to be like they're either really drunk or it's something important.
yeah,
I think if it's a family member, it's probably like something important.
yeah.
She'd probably think you were drunk though if you called her and said, "Oh, HRT twins."
No, yeah, well, yeah, she would probably think
Or
something was wrong.
do you drink? I'm sorry if I
I
assume
I
you
don't
drink.
drink actually,
Okay,
so
okay. So
I'm
then that
one
would
of
be a
those.
terrible assumption. Then.
I'm one of those weird Scottish people who don't drink.
Oh,
There's only like
strange,
five of us
strange.
in the country.
So you're trans and you don't drink. What a fucking
Yeah,
weirdo.
exactly. That's the thing I get slagged for if I go out. You don't drink, what you know? It's like nothing to do with me being a lovely gown or anything like that. It's like, why the fuck aren't
Mhm.
you drinking?
You're gonna lose your Scottish card.
Oh God, no.
Get over there. Go to the other pond side. Get out of here. We don't
Yeah,
take too kindly to your non-drinking kind around here.
yeah. I had a funny story about that. There was one of the years I was at summer camp. One of the previous camp counsellors came over to visit from Ireland,
Mm-hmm.
and there was me and him in the car, and two Americans. And in that car, we'd done a survey on how many people drank alcohol, and the Scottish and Irish persons did not drink alcohol. I don't think you'll find that anywhere else ever happening again.
Interesting.
It
Interesting.
was we laughed about it. It's like how do the Scottish and Irish person not be drinkers?
Seriously, that's interesting. That's very strange.
Yeah,
Hmm. I don't drink very often. For me, it's like very a social thing. Like maybe I don't know. I haven't had a drink in probably several months.
no, there you go. See,
It's seriously, it's like a social thing. Like I don't like drinking by
yeah.
myself. It's just my drug of choice is weed, but it's not good for me.
Show me something that is good for you. You know what I mean? It's all about taking it in moderation, or just
Hmm.
whenever. I mean, I eat lots of food, and that's not good for you. But I fucking enjoy eating food. So
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I get like I don't think weed is bad inherently,
no,
but I come from a very addictive family, so somehow I've stayed away from other drugs and alcohol for the most part.
yeah,
But weed is one of those things like I crave, and I get to the point where I'm just like just smoking it up just all day long, and
yeah.
it's bad. I'm not actively doing it, but once I start doing it, I definitely I get stuck in it, and it's hard for me to get out of.
I think it's an easy thing to get stuck in, though. I think with things like that in general, whether there's a history there or not. To be honest, it's one of those things. I know my both my parents smoked when I was a kid,
Hmm.
and then when my mum and dad divorced, um, my mum was obviously still smoking, and then she eventually quit because our new partner was like, right, we're going to go to Spain, but you need to get your own spending money, and the only way she could
Mm.
do that was to stop smoking. So
Mm.
me and my sister were like, oh, great, this is brilliant, and occasionally you would be like, what are these? And it'd be a pack of cigarettes stuffed away in a corner somewhere, and
Mm.
like, what? Why have you got them? We would break them up, put them in the bin, uh, for
Were you the
over.
kid with Were you the kid with the smelly backpack in school
Um, Probably, I
from
guess. Yeah.
the smoking? Yeah, I was. I had the smelly
I mean,
backpack.
I think to be fair, I think a lot of people smoked back then anyway,
Hmm.
so people
Hmm.
probably didn't notice it quite as much. But
Mm, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that was definitely me. I was the smelly backpack kid. Smell like smoke, of course.
yeah,
But yeah, not so much anymore. My parents don't smoke. That's a fucking terrible joke to make. My parents are dead.
that's a totally terrible joke to make.
That's a bad joke. Don't laugh at that. Um, here I am
Sorry,
laughing at it. Uh, I just have to ask. I noticed in the background you have the your NFL flag.
I do indeed.
Can we? Which do you like watching American football?
Yeah, I picked up American football probably either late 80s or early 90s.
Oh wow.
Um, it was on one channel. Like back then in our television, we had four channels. um, and it was on one of them. So I'd stay up late or record the Super Bowl, watch some of the
Mm.
games through the season. Not very many because obviously I was quite young. But yeah, you would get caught up in that. I like sports. I've always liked sports. And back then I would watch about any sport, and I really enjoyed the pace of the game. Apart from all the breaks that you guys put into your sports. Uh,
Well, you have all the breaks in the sports, so you can like stuff your face with snacks and hot dogs and nachos and whatever else. Like people, maybe I could be completely wrong, but I feel like people don't go to baseball to watch baseball. They go to
no,
baseball games to eat and drink and bullshit around.
yeah,
And
I mean,
occasionally they're like, "Oh, the ball got hit."
yeah. I mean, I've been to a few baseball games, so I can definitely testify to that.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, I'm just really drunk. There's hot dogs. Let's eat a hot dog." I want to go. I want to go to a baseball game with Giselle. I think that'd be so fun.
That would be.
Um, so what's your favorite NFL team
So my
if you have one?
favorite NFL team are the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh dang, you're gonna make
Uh,
Stephanie pissed off. She's gonna hate you.
she already does, I
But
think.
but this is the year though, right? This is the year. We're going to the Super Bowl.
Well, we say that every year, and we always hope. I'm more of a realistic, I guess, expectations, and we've got the players, but we just know that it's not going to happen.
Oh,
They
this
just,
is the year. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
yeah, we'll see.
Shoot. No, it's gonna happen. They're gonna win. They're going all the way this
All,
year, all the way to
all the
that first
all,
all the way to that first. I can't think of
postseason
postseason
game
game.
win. Yeah,
The
maybe we'll
playoffs.
win one
I
as
can't
well.
think of the name playoffs. They're gonna go to the
Oh,
first game of the playoffs and lose like always
yeah, I think
by
that's
like by
probably
like 2 fucking points probably,
yeah. Last kick of the ball
or
or something like
a
that.
field goal or something stupid. Always,
Yeah,
always, always, always.
yeah. It's
Um.
it's been tough supporting them. My nephew, he likes American football as well, and he actually likes the Washington Redskins, or
Mm,
sorry, the Washington team as or Commanders now. Commanders, isn't it? Yeah, Commanders. And that's my fault. Because that's where I
mm,
worked in the States, and I wanted to get him a proper American football top to take home. So I got him one, and it was I couldn't I could have got the cheapy ones. But I wanted a proper decent one, and even finding a Dallas one in Washington was pretty hard anyway. So I ended up getting him a Redskins top as it was then, and so he's liked the Redskins ever since. So we have a little bit
mm.
of friendly rivalry between us.
Well, that's
Um,
fun. That's fun to have
yeah,
because they
it's
play
actually
pretty
really good.
often.
Yeah, it's quite good. Actually, a couple of years ago, they beat us maybe about 2 or 3 weeks before my birthday.
Oh, okay.
And of course, in my birthday card from my nephew, it had the score in it. I got my revenge though, because his birthday's in January. So it's like, where are you guys? Oh, that's right. Bottom of the pile again. So
Do
yeah.
they play like in England sometimes, right?
So me and my nephew have been to 2 games down in England.
Okay,
Um,
that's what I was gonna. That's where I was going. I was gonna ask
yeah,
if you've been to
I,
those.
I've been to 3 games in London altogether. The first one was a Cowboys game, Cowboys
Ooh,
against the Jaguars, and we
fun.
won that. It was a good game to watch, although it was with my ex. It was still a really good game to watch. We had great 50-yard line seats,
Oh wow.
so it was really, really good to
Were there a
watch.
lot of people there?
Yeah, they sell out the stadium.
Oh wow.
Um, all of the games, so they're now at 4 games a season, I think, and or well three because I think they're moving one to Munich this year.
Mm,
So there's 2 in the London Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and one in Wembley. And Wembley's a 90,000 seater stadium, and I think
dang.
I think they cut the capacity because they cut away some of the very first rows of seats, and I
Hmm.
think it's usually about 85,000 people.
Dang, that's a
And
lot of
when
people.
you're there, just all the different teams. Like, doesn't matter whether your team's playing, all the jerseys are there.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's a really good experience. It's
You
good fun.
You're just excited to be there and experiencing it, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's getting to see a game because I worked in Washington DC 7 summers in a row, but it was a summer, so there was never any football.
Mm. I was
So
like
I never,
baseball, I think, is in summer.
yeah, I got to see a few baseball games, but not any football games, unfortunately.
Mm.
So one year I'm going to try and go over in the winter and get to a game somewhere. Maybe
You
I'll find
should. You
tickets.
should come visit Giselle and I. Will try to go to a
Yeah,
Cowboy game. We all go
yeah,
together. I think it'd be fun.
that'd be awesome.
We could all wear Redskins or whatever their team is. Wear those jerseys.
No, you're okay. I'd have to wash myself straight away.
There's not enough sandpaper to sand off my
Yeah,
skin after wearing
yeah.
that.
Red raw.
Then you're like, oh shit, I'm red again.
Yeah, but yeah, I like my American football. I like um, what I call football as well. Um, so not quite as much into it as I used to be, and I don't know whether that's an age thing or whether it's the HRT or what. I'm really not sure. Um, because I still try and watch the team I support as often as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I had a season ticket for a few years a while ago, but it's expensive stuff because it's not just the cost of the ticket; it was the cost of getting to games and how much you spent when you're there and all
Mm-hmm.
the rest of
Mm-hmm.
it. So it's just like, yeah, that didn't last long.
Yeah, you gotta like pay to get there. If you're, probably have to stay the night somewhere. Especially if
Yeah,
you're not drinking, but if you're drinking, you don't really want to like travel really far afterwards, and you gotta have all
yeah,
the snacks and
that's exactly it.
yeah,
But
it gets expensive.
me and my nephew both went, and then he started working as well anyway, so he wasn't going to be available every Saturday. So I was just like, let's you know, let's sack it. We'll go to a game every now and again. Um,
That's
so
cool.
it's still pretty cool. It's good, and the fact that he's one of the few people that hasn't ever misnamed me since I changed my name.
Oh wow, that's
He
great.
he's been amazing. He was one of my blocks when I went into counselling back in 2016. I had 4 blocks: my mum, my nephew, my work, and I was a scout leader. They were my 4 blocks, and
Are the blocks, are those like people or places or things that are hard for you to like come
they
out
were
to or
yeah, there were things that were stopping me from being me. Yeah,
okay, okay.
so that worry, fear, rejection, and all the rest of it that I'm sure most of us have felt at one time or another.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my mum May last year, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of knew." She's like, "You were always girly throughout your life, blah blah." And she's like, "I wish you'd told me sooner." I'm like, I was scared. I don't want rejected. I don't want you disowning me." She's like, "I'd never do that." The thing that probably most people hear, "You must know me better than that." And I was like, "Well, yeah." As much as I thought I knew you, I also was worried about the worst case scenario because you
Mm-hmm.
hear that so often with kids whose parents basically kicked them out of the house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and she's like, "Oh, but you should have known me." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's not as easy as that, Mum. Sorry."
Well, I
But
mean,
she's been great.
like you weren't really ready at the time either, as much as you wanted to be. I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, those blocks were there, and they were that was what I could visualize as my blocks. But yeah, at that point, I wasn't quite ready to make those huge changes, and it gave me time to work on it. And also, as much as I say my social transition was a year ago, it was much longer, because I started wearing makeup and things like that to work.
Mm-hmm.
I took a small step every so often, so clear makeup, clear nail polish. Then I went to slightly a little bit of colour, that had a little bit of glitter in it. Nobody said anything. Then I got my brows done. Nobody said anything. Just step by step. Eventually, just before pandemic, I was getting ready to start wearing blouses to work.
Mm-hmm.
I'd already been wearing female trousers for about 5 months, 6 months. I was ready to sort of do the next step, and then the pandemic hit. We were working at home, so the camera just didn't go on. You could wear a
Oh,
dress or whatever in the house; it didn't matter. So it was good. But weirdly now, it's t-shirts like what I'm wearing just now. This is a work t-shirt. Well, I say it's a work t-shirt. It's just a t-shirt. It's a t-shirt I will wear at work because we don't have a uniform. But with my job, I do IT, service desk support. So when I'm in the office, I can be crawling under desks, checking plug points or network ports or whatever. So
mhm.
yeah, I don't wear a dress to work. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, I get that. I do similar-ish stuff, so yeah. I
Yeah,
don't think a dress would work too well for me. I do have a uniform, unfortunately. I
yeah,
think most people on the Patreon, or not the Patreon, shout out to the Patreon, but most people on the Discord are very well aware of that because I know
yeah.
I complain about it a lot.
You talk about
Um,
it.
I a bit. I've I
Just a
really
little.
I really try not to, but oh my gosh, sometimes it's so hard
You,
and like overwhelming.
you know what though? Sometimes it's good to be able to just kind of let that rant out, and it gets
Hmm.
out your system rather than bottling it up, and then it just become an explosion.
That's true, and
It's,
that's why I do it. Um, I sometimes I feel bad because I haven't I feel like I haven't done it a whole lot recently, but I know for a few months there I feel like it was like every day. It was like an everyday thing, and
but you know,
um,
you're entitled to be able to do that, and I do it at my work. I'm pretty sure people at my work get fed up listening to me ranting, but I rant about something and then I just got on with it,
hmm
because it's my job at the end of the day, you know. And as much as you might be unhappy about something, there's people above you that make these decisions, and so you just kind of got to go with these things,
hmm hmm
um, you know. And it happens in my team quite a lot because we're, in terms of IT, we're at the bottom of the pile basically, because we're the non-technical people, even though some of us are very technical. In fact, I'm the only person with more than a year's experience in my team just now.
Oh wow.
And my So we're first line. The second line team I've got experience, but the first line team are all new people, and to a couple of what they call modern apprentices.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on a program where they come in for 2 years, and usually what happens is that they're 6 months in one place, but they changed that last year to being a year. So their year's about up, but they're looking like they might stay with the team for the second year of their apprenticeship, and so that's pretty good. It gives me a bit of continuity and making sure that the team do well because I'm the senior in the team, not
Oh,
just
you
by
just
age
I was
or
to say you just outed your
experience.
age. You just outed your age.
I'm the senior in terms of that's my title in the team.
Hmm.
So I do a lot of things. I do the role. I give a lot of mentoring and things like that in the team. So we actually had a new guy start last week, and I'm like, right, I'm going to teach you a little bit this week, and then I'm going on holiday next week. See you later.
Good luck.
Yeah, have
How,
fun.
so how long have you been doing IT?
So actual IT, and working in IT since 2000. The first 6 years of that were teaching
Mm,
at
okay.
college. My degree was in media technology, so multimedia computing, web design, and all that sort of stuff, video, audio, animation,
Were you
etc.
doing Were you doing a lot of Flash at the time?
We were indeed, yeah,
Dang. So I was in high school at like early 2000s, and I was taking like network classes and for like the Cisco stuff or whatever.
yeah.
I wasn't like super interested. I probably should have paid more attention, but high school. But I was really into like making Flash animations and stuff, and
Flash
the,
animations were awesome fun. That's
they
actually what I
were
taught at summer camp. That was
okay.
what I taught. So we taught Flash to the juniors. So what there were some of them were 6 years old, up to what about 10, and then the seniors got either Flash or we done 3D stuff with them, so 3D Studio Max
Mm,
and things like that. So it was pretty interesting. I also taught web design over there and a little bit of video production. Um,
dang, fancy.
yeah, long time ago though, a long time ago, unfortunately for me. Um, I would probably still be able to pick it up now, but it would take me a wee bit of while
You,
to do
you'd
things.
build a website, and none of the browsers would support it anymore.
Yeah. Why is this
It's
not
like
HTML not accepted?
why the fuck are you putting this on here? Get out of here! You can't get out of here. No,
Using Notepad to build a website.
did you do the was it Note plus plus Notepad or is it? I think it's Note plus
So,
plus.
Notepad plus plus nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I
But
haven't done it in a
back
while.
then it was Notepad. It was the original.
Yeah, I haven't
Oh,
done that stuff in a
we
while.
used Dreamweaver and things like that as well. It was
Okay.
Macromedia came out with that at the same time as they came out with Flash.
Oh yeah, Mac. They
So
had the what Shockwave.
Shockwave, yeah. So Macromedia, they had a few good applications that all integrated really well together.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so so yeah, that's what we used at the summer camp. So
Interesting.
it was pretty good.
So you said maybe I'm wrong, but you said the camp stuff was one of your blocks.
And also scouting.
Okay, scouting.
So
Yeah, I knew it was kind
yeah,
of similar.
yeah.
How was that? Like, I'm assuming you've come out and told them now.
So so a few years ago we were at a Christmas night out, um, and it was all the leaders from the groups, the scout leaders, cub leaders, beaver leaders, explorer leaders, which are the three sort of areas, age groups. And I arrived before the other scout leaders, so I just sat down with the table where other people were. By the time the scout leaders came, they ended up sitting at another table behind me.
Mm.
Um, and somebody messaged me later on to tell me that they were talking about the fact I dress. And I'm like, well, that's not very cool, is it? They're like talking right behind my back, literally behind my
Yeah,
back.
yeah, that's kind of messed up.
um, and so that made it an easier decision for me to just be like, well, you know what? When I'm ready to go, I'm going to go.
Hmm.
Um, we were supposed to go on a big trip in 2000. We were going to Switzerland, and so I was going to be part of the cook team. There was 84, in fact, no, 89 people going
Oh wow,
for 2 weeks. So we're quite
dang, long
a
trip.
big trip for Scotland. We're quite a large group, um, and and I was like, right after that's out the way, I'm going to leave in a high. I'm just going to, and then COVID happened. We didn't get in the trip,
Mm.
and so I stayed for that year, because it was a tough year for everybody. It was very much online and things like that, so I wanted to be there, and I just had to make sure my Zoom name was always changed because I was doing other Zoom things as Sarah. So I was like, oh shit, try to get it changed, and things like that. And then last summer, because I'd made up my mind that I was going to be changing my name that year, I just emailed them and said, look, I'm going to be stepping back for a while. I've got things that I need to sort out. And then
Hmm.
after I changed my name, I spoke to one of the scout leaders and said, look, I've officially changed my name now. This is why I don't want to be there just now. I'm hoping to be taken. At that point, I wasn't on hormones. I said I'm hoping to be taken to hormones soon. So I don't want to be on hormones while being around kids who are pre teenage age and then becoming teenagers, where they're also got really high hormone levels and can be wee arseholes. There's that word
Hmm.
again for you,
Hmm.
arse.
Oh, there's number two. You're skating
Uh,
on thin ice.
I know. I'm just figuring like, if I say the third one pretty soon, then I'll be able to go to bed.
But you might. Well, just for that, you found the loophole, and you can say arse as many times as you want now. That doesn't count towards the second and third words. So,
um, and so I just said, look, I'm not I'm not going to be available just until I'm ready.
hmm.
Um, and they're like, okay, no problem. And they were like, oh, maybe we could do a session one night, one of the Friday nights, where we talk about that sort of thing, LGBT type stuff or whatever. I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And then they never ever came back to me. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. So I've stepped away, and at some point I might get back to it, but I'm not too bothered at the moment.
Okay, so you're not. Okay, I was gonna ask if that's like affected you pretty bad or whatever. Was
I've
that scouting? Was that a pretty big part of your life?
I was a scout leader for 12 years.
Yeah,
So
I'd say that was a pretty
yeah,
big part of your life.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely was. And don't get me wrong, I had some fun times, some really good camps, and getting away was brilliant at times. It just took me out of the. I live alone, so it took me out of the house, got me doing stuff at a weekend or whatever. But it was also can be quite tiring. You would come back from a scout camp and you would be like, "Oh, I'm absolutely knackered," and
Mm-hmm.
just want to
Oh,
sleep.
oh, oh, that was word too. Knackered. No.
Fuck.
Oh shit! That's the end of the podcast. Thanks
See,
for
yeah,
joining and
yeah.
listening to the.
I'm going to bed now.
You're gonna go to bed.
But yeah, so it was a big part of my life, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I've enjoyed not having to worry about Friday nights and having to get to the scouts and what are we going to do tonight? What's the behaviour of the kids going to be like tonight? Because some people treated it like a babysitting service for their kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They'd be, all right, see you later. Like, I mean, sometimes you'd go to a camp, and we went down to Norfolk in England to one of the big sort of jamborees. Um, and one of the parents was like, "Oh, I'm going to Portugal while you're away. Is that okay?" Like, what the heck?
Oh,
Yeah, just, yeah, give us
okay.
your kids and yeah, it's off to Portugal. We just basically said as long as there's a contact in the UK that we can get if there's any emergency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you're not going to stop somebody from enjoying their life, but
The kids are
um,
away. We're gonna go to Portugal.
yeah,
Makes sense
why
to
not?
me. Yeah, why not?
In fact, I think this weekend they do a thing called Giant Sleepover, where
Mm.
the full troop. So there's over 200 kids, however many leaders, and they just make it a fun day with lots of different events for the kids. And then they sleep overnight. The first year I'd done that, I got 30 minutes sleep
Dang,
after
that's not
after a
enough.
full day. Yeah, and I was like that morning. I was just like,
And you weren't even
yeah,
recording a podcast that night.
yeah, yeah. um, and I just thought that was the way it was. And then I hadn't seen any of the scout leaders, and I'm like, oh, where were you guys? And I'm like, oh yeah, we were through in the storeroom sleeping. And I'm like, you can do that? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, okay. So from then on, after that year, I was like, right, I'm going to bed. See you later. um,
Dang, that sounds kind of rough. I don't know if I'd be able to do all that.
yeah,
Kudos.
it's
That's a
it.
lot of kids to deal with, and then like on
Oh
30 minutes
yeah,
of sleep. Ugh.
yeah. You just you get home and you just go right. See you later. I'm going to bed.
I'll see you in next year.
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
Um,
No thanks.
but
No
I
thanks.
mean, the actual events were really good. Like, and seeing the kids get as much out of it as they did was
Mm-hmm.
its reward, I guess. It was always good to see kids enjoying themselves. And if we done it when it was a hot day, you would be like, you would get the water pistol type guns out and whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
you'd be soaking the kids, or a bucket would get poured over somebody's head or whatever.
You
Uh,
should
you know,
you should give them the like the really shitty squirt guns. You know the little pump ones. You
yeah,
show up with like a super soaker. Like fuck you.
that definitely happened. Or a hose.
Yeah, there you go. Even better. Endless supply of water at that point.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it was good fun. Do I miss it? Maybe, but I don't miss it enough to want to go back just now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I go back, I want to be, me, like
Mm-hmm.
and not and know that they're not going to be, because kids will pick on things, and if they feel a weakness, they're like sharks with blood in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want that happening, because one thing I don't want to be doing is running out that hall every 10 minutes crying my eyes out. That's just no any point to that.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
make it enjoyable. So
Oh no.
I definitely don't want to be there just now. So that was block one.
So okay, so you had the I'm trying to remember them all. So there was the
The mum,
cousin.
No, my
the
mum, my
mom.
nephew,
Oh
and
shit!
my
Oh
wife.
shit! That was word three, mum. Oh shit! You're done. Podcast over officially. We've got all the lingo down there. She's already passed out. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you want to support us, you can go to the podcast Curi-YAAS podcast website and scroll down to on the right hand side. There's Patreon links and coffee, Ko-fi. Who knows?
Yeah.
No. So
um,
your mom, your
my,
cousin,
my nephew, not my cousin,
your nephew. Sorry, your nephew.
and
The
work.
scouts and work. Okay. How
Yeah.
would the work go?
So work. About the second year I was there, um, there'd been kind of discussions about an LGBT network, and we finally got it off the ground, and I was part
Hmm.
of that. And just being involved in that, and eventually actually becoming the chair of the network. I knew that I had support, um, and it was just kind of like, okay, right, I'm ready to do this. And as I say, I'd been doing the small steps, and nobody'd really said anything. Now and again, it'd be like, oh, your brows are looking amazing. I love your eyes, or whatever, or that nail. Never anything negative. It was always positive. So I
Hmm.
felt, work will be fine. And my boss, um, is in his 50s, and so he was the first person that I officially told that I was transitioning. And he was like, I'm going to make mistakes sometimes. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That's why I'm telling you just now, a month before I actually do it. And then I told my team, um, and then the wider team. So I told the first line guys first, and then the engineers. And one of the engineers was off. So this was a Friday. So the Monday, I was like, "Okay, on Teams, can you free for a quick chat?" It's like, "Yeah, sure." So I was like, "Right." So you may have noticed, my makeup and my nails and things like that over the last wee while. So I just want to tell you that I'm trans. He's like, "Yeah, I knew that," but that's exactly what was. That was my plan.
Hmm.
So that when it happened, it wasn't going to be this huge. Oh fuck,
Like huge shock. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So that had been part of my plan where, um, everybody was kind of like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that makes sense now," or
Hmm.
whatever. Um, Unfortunately, there was a lot of people in the business who had never met me,
Mm-hmm.
because of COVID. We had lots of people leaving, lots of people joining, and not meeting anybody in the service desk or anything like that. So maybe they were shocked. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I got the day I came out to the full directorate was really good. Could have done that, and I had about two hours left of work before I was on holiday for a week. Because I always take my birthday week off.
Hmm. That's
I'm a
smart.
diva.
That's really. I mean, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I should
Um,
like definitely follow your lead on that because I don't do that enough.
yeah. It was something I changed, and I thought this is a good time to take it because, in October the schools are off early in October, which is when my
Hmm.
birthday is, and my birthday's right at the end. So all my workmates wanted the school holidays if they had kids, and I'm like, I don't have kids. I'll take the last week off, which is when my birthday is. So it worked out pretty well, and it's a nice timed holiday. It's, um, a couple of months before Christmas.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
we get 43 days holiday. Sorry, 44
Lucky,
days.
lucky.
Um, where I work, most places in the UK are about 30 days, but
Hmm.
we get 43, so it's a really good place to work. It's one of
I
the things
used
that attracted me.
Oh my gosh, I used to get at my old job, I would get 1 week for the year. So 5 days,
Yeah,
which is insane and not nearly enough time to have off. And that was including like sick time or just a paid day off basically.
yeah,
Not nearly enough time for that.
no, and it's one of the things that I know is a big difference between a lot of places in the States,
Hmm.
and the UK. I mean, I worked for Dell, a good Texas company,
Dude, you got a deal.
and it was when we started working. It's like no unions, no this, no that, and you're like, wow. Um, so that was a bit strange, working for
Hmm.
that type of environment. Although I kind of knew how obviously some American places worked because the summer camp was American. So, um, but it was quite interesting to sort of, especially the union thing, because being in the UK, unions, some people would see them as a really big thing, and other people see them as menace.
Hmm.
But I'm very big into that. I think protection for people is really important. Um,
I agree. I agree. I've
so
never been like involved in it, but I definitely like agree with it.
it's
Stick it to the man, you know.
yeah. Well, I mean, my work actually are ready to strike at the moment.
Oh, oh.
Over pay, like they offered us, and they're, oh, this pay deal is great, and some people were getting like 5%, and some people were getting like 1.5%, and we're like, no, everybody should be getting 5%, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and it's so we get funded actually by the government. We're a government organisation, uh, not by name, but by funding,
Mm.
and we're supposed to be independent, but all our money comes from them pretty much.
Ugh.
So they're like, oh no, we can't give you any more. And we're like, right, okay, we're going to strike. So we've gone through all the things, and actually next month, I think there's 3 days at the moment where we've said we're going to strike, and it's happening all over the UK just now. So many places are going on strike,
Oh,
because
dang.
the cost of living, our gas and electricity has gone up by sort of 50% earlier this year. It's gone up another 80% next in
Mm.
October, and people are like, well, we need money. You can't expect us to live on nothing.
Yeah,
Um,
it sounds
so
like around here too. So I
yeah,
relate. I would definitely relate to that.
it's pretty tough. But yeah, so my work, they've been brilliant. Everybody's been amazing. Occasionally, people say my old name,
Hmm.
um, and one and actually it said when I came out to the full company, because of the way what the work I'd done, I figured I had to come out to everybody. I couldn't just be like a secret squirrel here. Um,
I'm doing that currently, and it's kind of tough.
yeah, it is tough. I've done it for a long time, and she called me my old name, and then was like, oh my god, and I'm like, no, just sorry, Sarah, and then that's it. That's all I want.
Hmm.
That's all I
Hmm.
need. And I'd said that in a Yammer post that if you accidentally do it, it's going to happen. Don't worry about it. Apologise, move on, because otherwise it becomes awkward. So of course
Hmm.
it became pretty awkward because I had 3 new people starting, that the week that I was training them, and I'm like, no, it's all right. And then she went away, and then I got back to my desk, and there was a message from her apologising again. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And she's
Well,
like, no,
I
I'm
think
sorry. And
I think it's cool that she's
oh yeah,
that's affected her so much because that means she's trying. It
yeah,
might be
and
really difficult, but yeah, making a lot of effort. That's
she made
awesome.
a huge amount of effort, and that's the thing. And to be honest, most people have had no problem at all calling me Sarah. Even though obviously if it's a Teams chat, video chat, whatever, and they see a person that they know as another name,
Hmm.
staring at them. Um,
I'm assuming you've changed your screen name at work
oh yeah,
to Sarah now.
that all got changed before I actually officially changed my name.
Ha-
Um, Being in IT is really handy.
yeah, yeah, I bet you know how to
um,
change your name on a video call. That's cool.
well, they get changed in all the systems.
Oh, even better.
So the team that do all that, the person who was in that team was my deputy chair,
Okay.
for the LGBT network. So after we done the directorate call where I told everybody, and we're like, right, let's get round to changing your name then, so that I spell it right, because my surname's all
It's like
Ukrainian.
Sarah. It's like Sarah with an H.
Well, that my surname though is Kraswitz, so
Okay. Okay.
it's not quite as easy to spell. Um, it's
Well, I
some
only ever
strange
see the
spelling.
I only ever see the K, so
Yeah,
I figured it was
um,
Kay.
yeah. Well, actually, that was my Facebook name for a long time because you couldn't do the letter K, and
Oh.
because it's such an unusual surname, I didn't want to put it onto Facebook, because there's only 15 households in Scotland with that name.
Okay.
I'm related to every single one of them. There's now 16 households in Scotland with that name. So if I'd put it up there, I would have been found dead easily by people when I wasn't ready to come out. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually did use K-A-Y for a long time, and that's why it was on my Discord
Oh,
as
okay.
well.
Okay. I don't.
Um,
Did you do that on the Discord? KAY?
I, I did prior to changing it to say a K with just the letter K.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't remember
pre
that.
pre 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 joining your server.
How long have you been on the
Uh,
Discord now?
it will be just over on on our Discord, your Discord, our Discord.
You're an admin. You're a pink name.
Yeah,
Let's
our
see.
Discord.
It can
Earlier
be
this
considered
year,
yours.
maybe about. Actually, let me see. I can get you the date I joined. I can find the February, end of
Okay,
February.
February. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool.
So, and I've been
Well,
on Discord for just
I'm
over
really
2 years.
I'm really happy that you joined because you're everyone loves seeing you when you pop up, and you give me someone to talk to, like, for me late at night sometimes. Because like
Yeah.
once the East Coast goes to
Go
bed,
falls
it
asleep.
like the thing goes like silent, like no one's
Yeah.
there to talk, and it's like, okay, I guess I'm just here.
It's one of the things I actually like when I'm up early to go to work, and I know that it's 6 a.m., so I know that it's a reasonable time for you,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, yeah, Billy will be up, so that's good. I'll have somebody
Yeah,
to say hi to,
I'm
and I know
almost
that
always
you'll
up.
always, yeah,
There's like times lately because I've been getting up to pee a lot because hormones or whatever,
yeah,
and I'm like, hey, what's going on? It's like your time right now, like 3:30 or whatever time it is, 3:30,
yeah.
3:15 or whatever.
I'm like, yeah, it's middle of the day, Billy's around.
You're like, oh, I'm having lunch or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, and that's one of the tough things, I guess, being in a server that's US central,
Hmm. Hmm.
in terms of the time zones. But actually, the first server I ever joined was the same, and I'm still on that server. It's a really good server, and it's a few Canadians and a few Americans, and then myself,
Okay.
um,
Okay.
and a few obviously other people, but the people that chat the most are a small group um, of people. But it's quite good because one of them, although they're East Coast Canada, um, they
There you go. You're going over on your word limit. I'm gonna have to charge you extra for this.
damn, there's a charge.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go on the podcast website and buy us a Ko-fi.
Um, but some of them are up. They keep strange hours as well. So
Hmm. Hmm.
you know when I get up there, some of them sometimes they're still up as well. And then they're like, good, I can go to bed now. You're up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
um,
really appreciate you. I'm sure it's not super super active like when we're all asleep, but I really appreciate you like jumping in there and welcoming people and stuff. I think that's super cool of you.
well, it's to me, it's a community, and it's important.
Hmm.
And as I said in the message I sent for the 150th episode, that it's really important, and it's such a great place as well. You guys have all been brilliant with me, um, and the welcome that I got back in February was brilliant, and it made me feel right at home. And you don't think I type weird or talk weird.
Uh, I wouldn't go that
Yeah,
far.
okay, you do. Dang.
You're this close, and a couple inches or millimeter centimeter. Who even fucking knows?
We have a measurement that isn't in any of those, and it's called a ball hair.
Oh, you're going over on your word count again.
Yeah, you'll be able to get a flight somewhere soon.
Dang. Yeah. Ugh. So what is that unit of measurement?
A ball hair.
A ball hair,
Yeah.
like
So
testicle hairs.
yes,
Okay, I've heard the term cunt hair. That
right.
sounds really offensive. I guess to me in America, but maybe not
Well,
to
that's
you.
exactly the same over in the UK.
Okay,
Although
I heard.
In
I heard that
Scotland,
once. You tell me. You tell me yours first.
in Scotland, cunt can be a term of endearment as well. Like
Mm,
people use it in the way that you can have a bad cunt or a good cunt,
okay.
um,
Okay.
and so it gets used a lot in Scotland especially. And some people think it's crass and vulgar, and some people are like, it's just a word,
And then they just call
you
them a bunch
know.
of cunts.
Yeah, yeah. Shut up, you
They're
cunt.
like,
It's just a word.
that's vulgar. Yeah, shut up, you cunt.
Yeah. Um, so yeah. So it can be used in a nice way or a bad way.
Okay.
It's all about inflection of the speech.
Yeah, I
So tell me.
remember the first time I heard the term cunt hair, or like as a term of measurement or whatever. I was like a lifetime ago. I was in this metal band, and we would always do like we called them Long Island iced tea parties, where we would just like buy like shitty Long Island iced tea mixer and whatever shitty alcohol we bought, like probably the cheapest stuff, and we'd like sit in a hot tub and drink Long Island iced teas all night, just like listen to classic rock like the Eagles, Rod Stewart, Phil
Okay.
Collins, just all that kind of music, like 70s, 80s type stuff. And
Good stuff.
there was like we lived in a college town, and this one like super country guy shows up, and he like sits in the hot tub and he starts talking about, oh, it was just a cunt hair away. And he just kept repeating this over and over and over, and we're just like dying laughing. So like that, a cunt hair has become a unit of measurement that I don't say, but I definitely
Think.
think.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Baw hair as well now.
Okay, okay.
It's baw, BAW, baw hair.
Oh, okay. That's way different than I was thinking.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because it's your balls. But we don't call them balls in Scotland. We call them baws.
Mm. Do you have that Balls energy drink? Have you ever had that?
No.
It's spelled like that, BAWLS.
Nah, I've never seen that.
They're pretty good. They were popular when I was in like high school,
Yeah.
back in a
There's a lot of
lifetime ago.
American things we don't get, which is good, and a lot of American things we don't get, which is bad. Some of the stuff's good,
Mm.
but
What are some things that you wish you got?
um, so I like the mint Oreo cookies, and
Okay.
in the last few years we've started to get Oreos over here, but the mint ones we just haven't seen at all. Um, we do get a lot of the things now, but they're really really expensive because
Mm.
obviously they get imported from the States rather than the company. It's other companies that are bringing them in. Peppermint patties, I miss them.
Oh, like
And
A York peppermint
yeah,
patty.
yeah,
Do
and
you get the
Twizzlers. It's
sensation?
always and
You, you sit
Twizzlers.
back in your chair, you're like, ah.
Ah, no! I'd been like, yeah, I'd be fine. I'm like, I'm not going to sleep now. That's me up for the rest of the day.
I got you talking about peppermint patties. Now you're gonna be up all day. Never
Um,
going back to sleep now.
yeah, so just like mostly candies that I kind of learnt to like when I was over there, and then you come home and then you're like, oh, we don't have that. Um, Vanilla Coke
Mm.
was so much nicer in the state. Come over here, we've got vanilla Coke now, and I'm like, oh, that's not vanilla Coke. Uh, nowhere near the same. Um, but Scotland's one of the few countries where Coca-Cola or a company were owned by Coca-Cola aren't the best number one selling drink. So
Mm.
there are a few countries, I guess, where that's Cuba maybe. I don't know. But Scotland's one of the few where it's not the number one.
What's the number one drink?
It's called Iron Brew.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah,
I think you've even posted.
I've posted about it. I posted the
Yeah, you
adverts.
posted. Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
adverts are iconic. The adverts are so
That's why I've
funny.
heard about it. Duh.
the
Where
the
can
ad,
you Where can you find those adverts that you posted?
on YouTube, funnily enough,
Oh,
but on the
oh,
Discord,
the
Cross-YAAS
Discord. That's where I was
Confidential
going. Yeah, yeah.
on where did we put them now? I think I put them in culture #culture
Mm,
piano,
okay, okay.
but you'd
Yeah,
have
if
to
you
scroll
wanna,
don't a wee bit.
don't go to YouTube for your Iron Brew
No, no,
commercials.
no, no, no.
If you want to see the Iron Brew commercials, find the Curi-YAAS podcast Discord server,
Discord, yes, indeed,
and
the
you can see them
Discord.
there.
You will see them on the Discord. I'll post
Hmm.
more if you want.
Oh, I want add more. Give us a
Yeah.
podcast exclusive one. Just post a random one, and then like
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks whenever we post this, they'll be like, "Oh shit, that's what that was for," or they'll
I,
just completely forget until they hear
they
it.
will
Like, just,
forget. It's a
or
guarantee.
they'll forget because I just made the joke. But
Yeah. When the podcast goes out, they'll be like, "Ah, right. Hold on. When was that?" They'll have to go back.
oh dang, they're like,
But
stay over there. We don't want that shit. No.
yeah.
Oh dang.
Yeah. But whenever uh, I went over to summer camp, I had a case of it in my bag, in my suitcase.
Hmm.
And of course, going through like JFK or um, Reagan International, wherever it was I'd landed, and I was always like, "Oh, the sniffer dogs," and I was always like, "Oh shit," because I never ever put in that I had it with me. It's just in my
Hmm. Hmm.
case. Um, 24 cans of what we call juice. And thinking, oh shit, they're going to find it, and the dogs would just walk by me. It's just like,
They're
that's
like, hey,
okay
let
then.
her
Yeah,
have her
whatever.
shit. Let her have
Yeah,
it. We don't want it. Let her have it.
yeah, they'd be like, oh fuck that,
Yeah, fuck that.
that stuff's stinking.
I got better things I want.
Yeah, it's not on my list. It's not heroin. We're okay. um, so yeah, um, and then going back to my blocks, if you wish. And
Mm, okay, okay, okay.
my nephew was the next one that I knocked out the park. Um, 2021. Well, 2020. The very last day of the year, we call it Hogmanay in Scotland, and we tend to have big parties. And my sister was over, and she was like, "What are you doing tonight?" And I'm like, "I'll just be sitting in the house alone. Can't go anywhere, can I?" And she's like, "Oh, come over to mine." I goes, "No, I'm having a Sarah night.
Hmm.
I'm going to get dressed up and everything." And she's like, "Well, just come to mine anyway." I'm like, "No, I don't want to do that." My nephew, I hadn't really spoken to him about it, and he's like, "He'll be fine. Don't worry about him." And I'm like, "No, no, it's okay." And eventually she said, "Look, we'll come over to you then." And I was like,
Uh
"Right,
oh.
okay."
No
I'm like,
escape there.
I'm
Shit. Like,
like, "Yeah,
fuck.
okay then." And my nephew
I'm
was
not
great.
home. I'm
Yeah,
not home right now. Go away.
my nephew was great, and I gave him a big hug and said, "I'm sorry I hadn't spoken to you about it before it." And he's like, "It's cool."
Oh.
He's 25,
Mhm.
and he was really really good. And I've got a really close relationship with him because the first year of his life, the first 5 years of his life, I stayed in the same house as him, and then when
Mhm.
I moved out, I had him every other weekend. He was always round at my house. I lived round the corner from where he stayed anyway, and so I was really really close to him and always have been.
Mhm.
And he's been, as I say, he's been amazing. He's one of the few people that haven't ever called me old name or anything like that, and he's always Auntie Sarah,
Oh,
just
that's sweet.
without
That's
any
really sweet.
issues. So yeah, it's been really good. In fact, me, him, and my mum are going to Krakow next year. My mum only
Okay.
asked him a few weeks ago. We're going to Krakow and we'll go to Auschwitz and things like that. And I'm really looking forward to it because me and him got on so well together.
Mhm.
Um, so
Are you gonna
it's
let them
really
listen to this episode?
maybe yeah, yeah.
What
I'll,
about
I'll,
your mom or
I'll
probably
maybe
not
say
work?
to
I'm
my
sure,
mum.
but
Yeah, I'll say to my mum about it.
I'm
And
just I'm
see.
just gonna throw out all of your blocks. You're gonna let all of your blocks listen to this? No, no. I think that'd be cool if you shared it.
Yeah,
And I think it's super super cool and very sweet of your nephew for being so supportive and so like immediate. That's so cool.
yeah, yeah. There was no nothing. Just no problem at all. Like that, the first time he seen me in a dress or with makeup on and things like that, and
Hmm.
he was just like, yeah. I was still the person he knew, so
Hmm.
there wasn't
Hmm.
any difference, and that's exactly how people should be. Um, people who are that close to me can make that change. Then why the hell can't anybody else? You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
um, there was one lady at work for the. It wasn't long after I changed my name, and there was several times where she'd call and she's like, "Oh shit," and it's like, no, it's okay. And eventually, it's like after the fourth time or something like that, I said, "Look, I'm going to get one of the air horns, and every time you say that name, I'm just going to blow it at you." And funnily enough, she hasn't done it since.
Dang, well, that's a effective treatment there. Maybe I need
I mean, I
to
didn't
take on
even buy
that.
the air horn or anything, but
Oh, you
just a threat.
instilled the fear of an air horn.
Yeah, maybe. Um, but everybody in my team have been great. Um, they don't ever use my old name. Those that knew it, obviously, as I say, there's new people in my team, so they don't know me by any other name, which is good. Um, so yeah, it's been great. And I say last year it was May when I said to my mum, and she's been good as well. She's been great. She's been really supportive. And she's like, when people, how's your son and your daughter? And she's like, I have two daughters. What you on about? Type thing, you know.
Hmm.
And she has no problem saying to people, that
That's great.
he's
That's super
he's
cool.
gone. It's now Sarah, and really happy, and that's all that she
Awesome.
ever wanted was a kid who was happy. So
That's awesome. How does that make
um,
you feel? Like hearing that from your mom?
it was relief, to be honest.
Hmm. I bet. I can only imagine.
Because of everything that I had in my mind. I always went to
Hmm.
worst case scenario, and that way anything else that happened was good.
Yeah,
So
I before like you came out to everybody and became, I don't really want to say became Sarah, but became Sarah for lack of a better term or whatever.
realized, Sarah,
Um, let Sarah out of her cage.
yeah,
Um, so like I guess now like every time I talk to you and see you, like you're really jolly and happy, and you're definitely a joy to talk with and interact with. Um, and you seem like a very very happy person. Before like all the coming out and stuff, were you like more
no,
depressed and all
no,
that stuff,
no,
or
no, this is still me. There's just that inner happiness is glowing now, whereas before it
okay,
was just there. Um,
okay,
so I've always been that person who's cracked a joke and been laughing and smiling and things like that.
okay,
But
okay,
when I was on my own, there was sadness. I want to just live my life. I want to be me. There was tough times, but they say that the saddest people put a smile on things, and maybe that's what I was doing more.
hmm,
Um, but yeah, I guess it's you kind of like go, well, I'm still me. I'm still that person. I'm still happy. But my mum's like, when she talks to people, she much happier now, much happier. And I'm like, fucking hell, was that really that bad? I
it's
don't even
probably you
remember.
probably, yeah, you probably like maybe you didn't even realize,
Yeah, and I think that
and
the hiding things probably does. It takes a toll on you. Without a
for
doubt.
sure, for
And
sure.
as I said, that word relief is probably one of the biggest things. Just knowing that you don't have to hide who you are. Like I live in, I'm from a small town, um, and so whenever I went out, I was always going up to the city. I was always going up to Glasgow, or further afield, because I didn't want news to get back to my mum. Because it was such a small town, it would have, without
Hmm.
a shadow of a doubt. Um, and now I don't have to worry about that. If I'm wearing makeup or a dress and going into town, I'm going into, I've not any problems with that. Um, but yeah, it's that relief, just being able to live your life, your true life, who you are. I think is probably one of the biggest things. And I know that not everybody on the server is trans, and I get there are many reasons for that.
Hmm.
I I thought I wasn't trans for a while. I thought I was just a cross-dresser, and I'm quite sure a lot of trans people probably went through that, especially people my age, where they thought, no, this is just a kink or whatever it happens to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly you kind of work through things and you go, no, it's more than a kink. I know that any time I went out as Sarah, I was so much happier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I always enjoy myself in a night out, but when I was being Sarah, it just was so much better. Um, and I think that was one of the reasons why I knew that um, that's who I was meant to be. It wasn't just a fetish or anything like that. There was actual proper joy and happiness. It wasn't like I was going out and getting all excited or anything like that. It was just happiness.
Mm-hmm. Just like bliss, right? Just feel so good.
Yeah.
Some
Um,
people call it euphoria. I've heard.
I was actually just about to use that word there. A lot of people talk about dysphoria and
Mm-hmm.
the hard side of being trans. And
Guilty.
I do have things that make me dysphoric, facial hair, for instance, um, and things like that. My body, but I think even if I was a woman by birth, my body would probably still give me, because a lot of people have body issues.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely the more euphoric things that were really triggering to me. That they were the things that really made me realise this is who I am, because I could feel the difference, and accepted that joy into my head as well as my
Mm-hmm.
heart.
I feel
And
like
I think
we should celebrate the euphoria more.
I think so,
The
because
dysphoria is definitely there, and it's
of
definitely a
course,
topic that needs to be covered. But I feel like we should try to cover the euphoria more often if we can,
yeah,
or just like put it out there because that is real. That is so real.
yeah, and I think a lot of, probably especially cross dressers, probably feel that euphoria moment when they put on a pair of stockings or panties or whatever it happens to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why you're doing that, and it's not because you're dysphoric. I mean, it might be, but
You might just be
you
horny and
know,
you want to jack off in some pantyhose. That's
well,
cool too.
there's
No
that as
judge. No
well.
judge.
Yeah,
Been
we've
there.
all
Been there.
we've
Done
all been
that.
there. Yeah, exactly. Um,
If you haven't, you're
but yeah,
lying.
euphoria completely is a thing, and I've spoken to other people about it, in other trans circles in home, and there's a trans mask person I speak to, and they're exactly the same. They they have a small amount of dysphoria, but it's more euphoria that they feel,
Mm-hmm.
about being the real them, and I'm totally like, yeah, I get that, I totally understand that. Um, why do you want to be a man though? I don't understand. No. But the whole joke is that if only, trans masculine people could go, here's my boobs, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and hand them to you, and
Yeah.
here's my
Here's my
cervix,
here's my boobs. Here's my cervix. Here's
you
all the
know,
other parts, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, here you can have my wiener and my
here's, yeah,
balls, and
yeah, exactly. If only we
you got my
could do
beard.
that,
Okay, here you go.
yeah.
Peel.
Um, but yeah, and the thing with the dysphoria stuff, the facial hair, I actually started. I done laser treatment, started last year, and not quite every month. I've not been. It's remembrance to book the appointment and things like that. And I've got one more
Mm.
to go, that I paid for, and then
How
I'll
many have
probably get it.
How many have you
I've,
done?
I've only had 10,
Oh wow, I've had like three.
yeah, and it doesn't hurt. At least I don't think it hurts. Like the first time, everybody's, oh, do you get this stuff for putting on your face afterwards, and take paracetamol and things like that, and I'm like, yeah, okay, so I done it the first time, and the second time I forgot and was like, oh, this doesn't actually hurt. I mean, yeah, sure, it's the ping, as it
It's like
were,
a
when it,
For me, it was like a rubber band snap.
yeah, so
Just like
it's,
really quick and it
something,
was gone.
yeah,
For me, it hurt the most, or hurts the most in the areas where I have a lot of hair and like it's kind of bony. So like my jaw
yeah.
and
For me,
my
it
apple
was
or whatever.
the bit between my nose and my mouth was the bit that hurt the
Mm,
most for me. And even then, it didn't hurt that much. It was just like,
yes.
yeah, whatever. It's like, turn it up, burn those hairs.
the it's totally worth it. Like after
Yeah,
shit, I mean, after like the first session, I noticed a huge difference, and
yeah,
I was like, wow, I like this a lot more than I thought I would.
yeah. I've been really lucky because I didn't have to shave very often, which thankful
Lucky.
because it was a trigger.
Oh dang.
um, and I would go a full week with I'd shave once a week, and it would be a small amount of obvious stubble.
Lucky.
Um, and I found out when I got my bloods taken that my testosterone levels were 5.5, which is actually slap bang in the middle of the female range.
Oh shit.
So I'm like, okay, it
So
kind of
you
makes
got a
sense
leg
now.
up. Yeah, you got a
Yeah,
leg up on the game.
so I'm not overly hairy or anything like that. So that's been pretty handy because I think I'd probably be more dysphoric if I was, without a doubt. Um, but yeah, the laser treatment's been great. I've got one more session to go. Um, what I'll probably do the next time is not go for laser, but go for the
The
electrolysis.
electrolysis. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you have like some stragglers or something?
because there's areas around here that still are growing, obviously, and that's going to be the case for a while, unless I get put on T blockers.
Mm-hmm.
They're still going to be there. I'm still going to get that shadow,
Mm-hmm.
um, or I get them out. So I'm figuring these ones the laser's just not touching because of where they are probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
And
me, it's bad. Like I'll say my goatee area for people
yeah,
listening. Just
yeah,
kind
that's
of
where I'm
match.
bad.
A
Just
lot of
there.
the
Yeah,
a lot of the chin hairs for me have like fallen out or zapped out or whatever. But it's like the goatee and a little bit of my mustache
yeah,
area. But my neck, I had a lot of like gray hairs and stress or whatever.
right,
So
right.
laser
So
doesn't really get
it's
those.
not going to touch those, is it? Yeah,
But
that's
they're like they're light enough to where you don't really see them,
yeah.
so they're not that noticeable. But maybe one day I'll do electrolysis on it. I think that'd be
Yeah, so
way to
that's
go.
my plan is to eventually go down that route and see how often I'm gonna or how many sessions I'm gonna have to get or whatever. Um, Local college a few years ago were doing electrolysis for a really good price, but they're really
Oh, okay.
slow. They're really
Mm,
slow, so they only get really small areas in the time that you've got. So it
mm-hmm,
would take longer, and obviously they're students, so they might make mistakes. But I went once and they done a small area, probably about the size of a 5 cent piece. And that's had this small.
you see, you lost me there because your 5 cent piece is probably different than my
Oh no,
nickel. So,
American 5 cents piece.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
Um, and in fact, no, probably a dime.
Oh, so even smaller.
Yeah, so even smaller. So it was
Oh
just a
wow.
small sort of small circle area down underneath my chin, and so the hair didn't grow. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm,
that's brilliant. And then again, that was 2020, early 2020. So COVID struck and I never got a chance to go back, and I haven't seen it
mm-hmm.
being offered yet. So I don't know whether they'll do it next year or not, because it's
Maybe I
towards the
should
end of the year.
maybe I should look into that. See if there's something like that around here.
Yeah,
I never even thought about like student training or whatever.
yeah,
Good idea.
yeah.
Did that
I
hurt?
mean,
Did the electrolysis hurt
no more than
than the
the
laser?
laser. To be honest, I didn't think. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of pain, but what's that saying? No pain, no gain. Or in this case,
Sure.
no pain, no loss.
Yeah, yeah. Get rid of this shit. Take it out. Zap that shit out. I don't want it.
Get it out of there. Get it out. We don't want it anymore.
Then you have the
Yeah.
one dime shape spot.
Yeah. So, but the thing was, because I wasn't extremely hairy and I've never been able to grow a beard or anything like that, it didn't really show that much. I
Hmm.
guess unless you were really looking at me and I was walking about with my chin held really high or something, you would never notice it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it was pretty good.
Well, everyone
Uh,
sees my chin because I'm tall.
well, that's the good thing about being a short arse. There's that word again.
You're using that word again.
um, you know, people, especially men, don't see underneath my chin.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, it's only kids that see that. I'm too short.
Hmm. Hmm. How tall are you?
I'm only 5. I'm not even 5'6".
Oh,
So
okay. You're short. I'm
yeah,
almost
I'm
like a
really short.
foot taller than you.
Yeah, my mum isn't even 5 foot tall. So
Dang!
yeah, we call her the minion.
She can fit through every doorway.
Yeah, she can't even jump up and touch the top of the horse.
I need your mom around to like tie my shoes and get the groceries at the bottom
Yeah,
of the things.
that's what
I
we
need
use her
her.
for.
I need her for all the things that are down. I'll change all of her light bulbs. I'll reach everything in the top cabinet for her.
She would love
It,
that.
it, it'll be like a symbiotic relationship.
It totally would be.
But I'll need someone like in the mid range too, because the stuff in the middle is harder.
Yeah, that's me.
There you go. There you go. I
I
just need
have a
both
use
y'all
at
to stick
last.
around. There you go. I need both y'all around. Just come over here and get all the things that are mid range and low for me.
Yeah, definitely. You get all the tall stuff for us, all the high stuff.
Yeah, I'll change all your light bulbs. I don't need a ladder
Yeah.
unless it's higher than
No, no,
8 foot or so.
you would be able to change my light bulbs, no problem at all.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll probably hit my head on your doors. It's the other side of the
Yeah,
door.
probably. I live in the Hobbit house, so yeah, it's a guarantee.
You live in a grass dirt mound with
Yeah,
tiny little doors. Yeah.
it's where everybody lives in the UK.
Okay. So it's authentic. I knew that movie
It's
was
all
real.
yeah, it's all real. I even live in the Shire.
Oh shit! Dang. You have was it second lunch?
I have all the lunches.
Dang. You don't skip a lunch.
I don't skip any. That's why I'm so fat.
Oh shit.
Uh,
Oh dang. Well, speaking of lunch, it's getting kind of late for me. I hate to cut you off, but I'm getting kind of
no,
hungry,
that's okay.
and I'm sure
I'm
you're probably wanting to
ready
go
to go
back
to
to
bed.
bed. You're probably like,
It's
"Why the fuck? It's been over an hour. Why are we still talking?"
yeah, it's
I've already said my
almost
3 words.
it's almost 4 a.m. here.
Dang. Well, thank you so much for making the sacrifice or whatever to like
No,
wake up so early and stuff and talk with me.
it
It's
was
been really
something I
great.
wanted to do, so I'm really pleased that we managed to kind of get a time where it worked for you, because the time difference is always a killer. So it was either
Yeah, it
going to always
is.
be really late early for you, or
Mm-hmm.
really early slash late for me. So
Mm-hmm.
being off work, it made it much easier for me just to kind of make that little bit of a sacrifice of a few hours sleep. Um,
Well, I really appreciate it. It's super cool of you.
no problem at all. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you very
Thank
much
you so
for
much.
having me.
Yeah, of course. Do you have anything else you'd want to say or
Just for
any?
anybody who's listening who's not on the Discord, come along and join us in the Discord. It's a great place, some amazing people, and that's Curi-YAAS Confidential Discord. You can reach it through the website if you want, um, and obviously the website is crossyasspodcast.com.
I love having my guests make commercials for me.
but,
No,
but
that's
yeah,
awesome.
that's I think it's a great group of people, and we've all got similar things and a lot of differences as well, though, and I think that's what makes it work.
Cool, cool. Well, thanks again, Sarah. It was really good talking with you, and I hope to have you on again sometime. Maybe you can get you on a surprise DDT or whatever sometime.
Ah,
I think that'd be
that would be
super cool.
amazing. I'd totally love that.
I think that'd be
So
cool.
I'm up for it whenever.
Cool, cool, cool.
Well, thank you
Yeah,
very
well,
much.
yeah, of course, of
You go and
course.
enjoy the rest of your evening. Unfortunately, you probably won't see me for the rest of the night.
Yeah, not surprising, not surprised. But I got to see you and actually talk to you. So
Yeah,
I think it was worth the trade off.
yeah, I think so as well. It's been great
Cool.
talking to you as well.
Likewise, you're a very lovely person. Thank you so much. I love you, and I love
Love,
all the listeners and stuff. So
love you as well. Thank you very
cool.
much for giving me this opportunity.
You're
It's
very
been a
welcome.
blast.
Yeah.
Right. Night.
Cool. All right. Good night.